Just out here getting the firewood that we'll need for tonight. The nights have gotten cold, down into the 20s here in our part of Central Virginia. And I was out here doing this same thing yesterday, a little bit later in the day, just before dark, when something happened that I feel I cannot, in good conscience, not tell you about, because I really believe the events that took place over the period of about an hour and a half yesterday evening, I need to give this urgent holidays warning. Let me explain what's going on. So you see right here, that's our driveway. You can't see the road from here because it's over 100 yards away, okay? Here's the house. We keep firewood here. We've got some in other places, but I was here getting firewood, bending over, picking up wood when I heard a car coming down the driveway, crunching gravel. Now, this is peculiar, and I'm going to tell you why. We have a gate at the end of that driveway. We only close that gate when we're home. The gate is not there to keep people out when we're gone so they don't steal our stuff. The gate is there to keep people out when we're home because we don't want to be bothered. I work from home. All of the work I do is from home. The work my wife does is from home. So if you were to go by our home and if you were to see us out and about, we're not just hanging out. I mean, we could be, but there's a very good chance that we might also be working. And we had issues with this when we first bought this property 8 years ago now. It was a hay field. Those of you who have followed this channel for some time know that. We planted privacy hedges. You can see, I mean, all the way around the property. The property still extends for a considerable distance this way, but we put a hedge here to get some privacy with the garden we have back here. But we planted privacy hedges all the way around the property. You can no longer see our property from the road, nor can we see the road from our property. It's a beautiful thing. But in the early days of being here, people would often see us out, locals, and they just come over to say hi. But it didn't take a minute or two to say hi. Sometimes they would stay literally for hours. So we learned we had to start setting boundaries. So we put up a gate. That was the best way to deal with 95% of that problem. We planted the hedges. We now have full privacy. But even after that, we had a couple of locals who just didn't get it. So we had to be a little more firm in setting our boundaries. But here's the deal. If that gate is closed, that's because we're home and we don't want to be bothered. We have a very select group of friends, as in a handful, who know they're welcome at our house anytime. However, they know our situation and they know they need to respect us enough to either call or text first and say, hey, if you're not busy, I'd like to come by and hang out. Is that okay? And if we're not busy and we're in the mood to hang out with them, we'll say, sure, come on over. Or if we're busy doing other things, we let them know. And if we're just not in the mood, we let them know that as well. Because this is what's wonderful about true friendships. You can just be honest with people, right? It's not going to hurt their feelings. In the 8 years we've lived here, we have never, ever had anybody uninvitedly and without our permission open that gate while we've been home and come down here for any reason. In 8 years, it's never happened, right? We have a huge sign on the gate right there where you open it that says, please leave all packages at gate. Okay? Every carrier for the last 8 years has left the packages at the gate when that gate has been shut. Now, there's been times when we've gone into town, running errands, had something to do, football practice, football game, and we've left the gate open because we just don't close it behind us when we leave because, again, it's there for our privacy so that we can be left alone when we're home. There have been times like that when we've come home and we've had Amazon packages on the porch because the delivery guy just went through the gate. The sign wasn't right there, and if it's a different delivery person, they might not even know the sign's there. That's not a problem. We've never had a problem with that. But for example, I'm spoiled with the life I live. I take afternoon naps in a hammock on my porch most afternoons when the weather's nice. So that gate is shut, so those delivery guys aren't going to come up here and wake me up and slam them boxes on the porch. So that's my nap time, okay? So I'm here yesterday putting wood in the cart, just like I've done here. I hear gravel crunching, a vehicle's coming, and I turn around, and it's a delivery guy, an Amazon delivery guy. He turns his van around, gets out of the van, And he says, hey, is this? And he says the address. I said, well, sure is. He says, oh, okay. And he takes the packages to the porch. Well, I just thought, did I leave the gate open? Couldn't have. And I know I didn't, because the day before was Thanksgiving and we had some friends over, and we always follow our friends out when they leave and close the gate behind them. We know when they're coming. They let us know, and these are people who are on time. And so we'll go down there 10 or 15 minutes before they arrive and open the gate so they don't have to get out of their vehicle and do so. So I know I shut the gate. So I'm pulling my wood over. You can see my front porch is right here. I always take the wood in through the back. Well, the guy had the package in his hand, and they'll take a picture of it so they can verify that it was delivered, and you'll get the email saying it was delivered, and it shows the picture. And with the pictures we get, usually it's the packages at the gate, but this of course came across as a package on the porch. So I'm pulling my cart, and I used to deliver for Amazon when I worked for the U.S. Postal Service about 6 years or so ago now. It's a hard job. It's long hours. I went 17 days straight once without a day off. If you followed the channel for a while, you know that story. So I paused and I hesitated, because when that guy, after he just took a picture and put the package down, I was just going to tell him, hey, I appreciate what you do. I used to do what you do. I know it's hard work, and thank you for doing what you do. I wasn't going to scold him about, if the gate's closed, don't come up here or whatever. But I noticed what should have taken like and turn around and leave, because I did it. I literally delivered tens of thousands of packages. Okay. He's standing there like this, and he's going around like this. And I'm like, what's wrong? Does that guy's phone not work or something? Or does the camera on his phone not work? And I'm thinking, you don't have to have a signal to use your phone. It took over a full minute, and he didn't know I was standing there. Yesterday we had gusty winds, blustery, windy conditions, so he didn't hear my little cart. It doesn't squeak too much, but he didn't know I was there. So when he turns around, when he's done and he sees me, he's like this, there was like almost a look of shock on his face. And I said, hey, I just wanted to let you know. And I thanked him, and I told him everything I just mentioned here in this video. He says, oh, yes, you know what it's like. I'm like, heck yeah, man, long hours, you're underpaid, you're underappreciated. And so that's why I just want to take a moment and let you know that I appreciate you. He says, oh, well, I appreciate you for letting me know that. I said, God bless you, brother. Have, great Christmas. I hope you enjoyed Thanksgiving. He's like, yeah, they at least let me have that day off. So he gets in his van and he leaves, okay? I watch him go down the driveway from the back. I pull my wood over. I watch him. He goes out of the gate, and he gets out of his vehicle and he shuts the gate. And I thought, well, I don't know why he opened that gate in the first place. Clearly the sign is there. For whatever reason he did, but at least he had the courtesy to get out and shut it behind him. No big deal, right? So I'm in the house. This is about an hour later. My family and I were having dinner. Our dining room's over on the other side of the house. Faces our beautiful field. It's like literally the size of a football field in the front. And then we've got that privacy hedge down there where the road is. Plus we've planted 8 rows of mixed hardwoods. We created a forest, and it's just beautiful. And so we have blinds in all of our dining room windows. We used to close those for privacy our first few years here, but we just don't even close them anymore because the hedges give us the privacy that we need. So the blinds were up. We're sitting there. That day we had decorated for this was yesterday, the day after Thanksgiving. We decorated for Christmas. We had our tree up. We had the lights on. We were listening to Christmas music, and we were eating a delicious dinner my wife had prepared. As it turns out, yesterday was actually my birthday. Also, I turned 51 years old yesterday. So we're eating dinner, and we see headlights of a vehicle pull up to our gate, and it just stops. Now, it's getting dark at 5 p.m. now, so it wasn't late. It would have been about 5:30, 5:45-ish. And we're looking down there, and I said, oh, I'm sure that's just another delivery guy. Well, it wasn't, because he would have had to have gotten out, walked in front of his own headlights to leave the packages at the gate, and so we would have seen that. That never happened. He sat there for a full 10 minutes while we were eating dinner, and we just watched him. Well, he pulled out of the driveway into the road, and I said, it's somebody that got lost. We live way out in the country. I don't want to say way out. Time-wise, it's not that far from the closest city to us, which of course is Charlottesville. And but a lot of folks will come joyriding out here. It's easy to get lost. There's all these old country roads going everywhere. And if you don't know where you're going, sometimes you just got to stop where you can get a signal and Google Map it to get your way out of here. So I just assume that's what's going on. However, this guy then turned and went directly up the driveway of the property across the road from us. Now, at the very top of that driveway, you can still see up there, you can see a house and where cars are parked from time to time. Nobody lives in that house full time. There was an old couple that's lived there since the 1950s, to my understanding. Their adult children are still around here. One of the adult children still farms that land, but he lives several miles up the road, and he does not accept package deliveries at that property. Okay? He gets them at his house. So this vehicle goes up there into that driveway and it just parks. But it leaves its headlights on and it's shining at the house. And I thought, oh, maybe that's somebody looking for that guy and they don't, whatever it is. But we were eating and we were listening to Christmas music. But I was paying attention. And I noticed this car slowly would like turn in such a way that it was like high beaming with its lights, everything up there. And I'm like, what's going on? Something's going on here. So it spent a full 10 minutes up there, that vehicle. Starts coming back down the driveway, and I'm thinking, well, it's somebody from town out for a joyride. Maybe couldn't get a signal from our driveway, so they drove up to a high point hoping they could get a signal, and they know where they are now, so they're going to leave. That's not what happened. They came down off of that hill, down that driveway, and back to our driveway. So somebody got out of that vehicle and opened our gate, okay? Got back in the vehicle, and they're coming down the driveway to our house. This driveway right here. In the 8 years that my family and I have lived on this property, and we've set these boundaries with folks we know, no one's ever done that. Like I said, if we know company's coming, we will out of courtesy go open the gate for them 10 or 15 minutes before they get here. We've never had anybody do that. So whoever this is coming down the driveway. I said, guys, wait here. I said this to my wife and my son. I walked into our bedroom and I got my protection, and it wasn't a crayon. And I went out, I turned on the outside lights as this vehicle went past the porch. I opened the door and I saw that it was a delivery vehicle. And so I felt relieved, right? Part of me was thinking, you know, Kevin, you're kind of going overboard here. This is probably some of your buddies who knows it's your birthday and your wife set up a surprise birthday party, because she's been known to do that and I've done it to her. But I had no information. So I saw that it was a delivery guy. I felt relieved. I start to walk back in the house. My wife's coming out now since I said it was a delivery guy. I said, it's just a delivery guy. Let's just finish our dinner. So I go in, but I left the door slightly ajar, and the delivery guy was out. He had parked, he got out. He never saw me. This guy never saw me. So he gets out and he says, is this? And he says the address again. I recognized the voice because it was the guy that was here no longer than an hour and a half before. As I mentioned, I delivered tens of thousands of packages. I literally memorized addresses, and I certainly never forgot the same address in an hour and a half. So I'm like, that's odd. That's the same guy. So I start to go out. He's got his back turned. He can't see me. He's in his truck digging around for what I assumed he's digging around for a package. And my wife says to him, she says, sir, you just need to leave all the packages at the gate anytime you come out here, because, you know, we don't like to go out and mess around with the gate, and especially after dark. We just prefer that you leave them down there, and we'll just go get them after we get the emails that they've been delivered. And this guy with his back to us, and again, he didn't know I was there, he says, well, you need to tell them that. You need to contact Amazon and let them know. That pissed me off, because he just disrespected my wife. And he just disrespected the woman who is joint name property owner of this place. And he pretty much was saying, I'm going to do what I want. I don't care what you say. I have a zero tolerance policy for that. So while his back was still turned to me, I said, actually, we don't need to contact anybody. We own this property. There's a sign on the fence that clearly states, please leave all packages at gate. And we don't need to do anything more than that. He turns around and he is shocked. And he's like, I must not have seen that sign. I said, well, you know it's there now because we just told you. And then I walked back in the house. I said, come on, honey, let's go finish our dinner. So I go back in the house, and she's continuing to have a conversation with this guy. Rather, let me say it appropriately. He's continuing to have a conversation with her. I wish I would have brought what he delivered. It was a pack of honeybee food. It's called Hive Alive. You can look it up if you don't know what it is, but it's like a paste, almost like a putty or Play-Doh in a clear package. And when they ship it to us, they always put the shipping label right over top of the label of the package where it says Hive Alive, best honeybee food in the world, which through our experience, it actually is pretty good. So this guy's saying, what is this stuff? I don't even know what this is. So I'm thinking something here's just not adding up. So I went to a window from where I could still see the porch outside from an angle. He wouldn't see me. So he's walking to the porch with his camera, and he's making it appear as if he's taking a picture of this thing. And I'm watching him, and he's like, what even is this stuff? And I've never seen it. And my wife's explaining, well, that's honeybee food. We're beekeepers, and our bees don't have enough honey built up to get them through the winter because it was an extremely warmer year than in the past. There was no pollen, but they were still active. So we're feeding them through the winter, hoping we get them through the winter. She's explaining this. And that's when I realized this guy's he's not taking multiple pictures of that product he's delivering at our house. He's taking pictures of multiple angles of our house. He wants to know where the cameras are, what angles are they directed. In a minute, I knew exactly what he was doing. And listen, it's not because I'm paranoid. It's not because I'm a jerk. I have a certain set of skills in which I was highly trained years ago in the United States Army, and those skills are what kept me alive when I deployed to Iraq. I'll give you a brief example on how that works, because this is what I was doing last night, okay? Once when we were in Iraq, we were in a motor pool getting ready to go out on mission, and there was this TCN, that's third country nationalist. That's somebody Halliburton would hire from India or Pakistan or Philippines or Syria, and they'd pay him just a few dollars to drive the trucks that hauled the supplies that our gun trucks, protected. We protected the main supply line in all of northern Iraq. So one day, this TCN, this truck driver from, I think, Pakistan's asking me all these questions. And he was asking me questions about the blocking mechanism on the front of our gun trucks that would send out signals so that when the terrorists would try to detonate phone-detonated IEDs, improvised explosive devices that they plant out on the roadside waiting for us to come by, it blocks those signals so they don't blow until our truck is enough of a safe distance past, then it blows, okay? So this guy was wanting to know how these things worked. I played dumb, like I was supposed to. I actually understood how that system worked. I was trained to make a certain amount of repairs on it in case if it broke down while we're out on mission. Well, I immediately went to one of my NCOs, non-commissioned officers. I said, Sergeant, this guy's asking too many questions. They apprehended the guy, interrogated him, and they found out he'd been selling information to the terrorists the whole time he'd been in Iraq driving trucks for the United States Army. He's probably still in prison. So I'm not paranoid. I have a keen sense through training and using that keen sense to stay alive in combat zones to know what's going on around me. I listen to what people say, but I don't really pay much attention to it. I watch their actions instead. So that's what was going on. So my wife comes in, he gets in his vehicle. Now, he had already turned around in our driveway. He came up the driveway, did like a 3-point turn, so he was facing out. I've got his tire tracks in my yard because he, as I watched through the window, didn't head straight out the driveway. Once he saw that we were in the house and the doors were shut, it took him 5 minutes to leave our property. He drove around here as slowly as he could with his high beams on, making sure he saw everything that there was to see. And typically I leave my garage doors open because I just don't care. No one comes out here. He's shining that right in there. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, especially somebody who has my training, to figure out. There's a very good chance this guy is scoping out properties to maybe return to at some point, either alone or with his buddies, to rob. It's that simple. Now, there's this theory that, people, that do that, they don't mess with country people because they know everybody out in the country has firearms and, they take them out on their own property. They never make it home. People in the city have that belief about country people. I mentioned that we live right outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. We're in Albemarle County, Virginia. It's a different demographic here. Let me tell you, most of the people that live out in the country outside of Charlottesville in Albemarle County are not country people. They're yuppies. And I don't say that to be derogatory. Most of them not only don't own any firearms or any working firearms that have ammunition for them. They might have a collector's edition here or there. Maybe grandpa was in the First World War and they have whatever he used there as a souvenir. That's as far as it goes. A lot of these folks are actually anti-firearms. They're anti-hunting. Now, there are some legitimate country folks out here like myself who actually burn firewood in their house, who actually do hunt on their properties, fish in their waterways. And I've had some of these other yuppie types kind of like, why would you kill Bambi when you can get meat at this store? I just let it go in one ear and out the other. But anybody in this area, to include any criminals in Charlottesville, understand the demographics of our area. They know there's a bunch of well-to-do people out here who don't possess firearms, and a lot of them leave for extended periods of time, especially during the holidays. It was clear to me this guy was out here scoping out my property, scoping out my neighbor's property across the road, and God only knows what other properties he's been scoping out. Last winter alone, case in point, I'm going to wrap it up with this. My family, my wife and our son, we spent the entire winter in the Philippine Islands. My wife's from there. We have family there. It's been a while since we've been over, and I was tired of cold winters. We were there from late October until March. It was like 5 months. We have friends out here who spend half the year in Central Virginia and the other half somewhere else. Other countries, other states, you're talking about folks that have multiple homes all over the United States. They'll spend the winters in Florida, come up here part of the year. They go to Maine in the summer. We have friends that do that. Anybody in this area of a criminal mind and who understands the demographics knows this isn't your typical country area out here. They can come out here and find these types of people that have lots of stuff, who are easy targets, soft targets. They don't have to worry, the criminals don't have to worry about being dispatched by the homeowner, because these homeowners out here, 90% of them don't even have firearms. They don't believe in them, wish they were outlawed. So folks, listen, pay attention to everything going on around you at all times. Part of my isms now that I've been back from the war is that I still possess that hypervigilance. It's one of those things that you just don't turn off. It can drive you nuts sometimes, but at the same time, it's got its benefits. I know as a coach, when we're coaching football, I'm seeing things some of the other coaches aren't seeing, even though they understand the game more than I do. That's just how my mind works. And that's how it worked yesterday when somebody who was not invited and who did not have permission to come down my driveway did. Not just once, but twice. So folks, take that to heart. Whatever you can get out of that to keep you and your family safe, please take it, spread the word, share this video to get the message out there. Let us know in the comments section if you've had any experiences like this yourself. And I want to let y'all know, happy belated Thanksgiving, and we wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate coming up here really soon. Wish you the best in that. And if you celebrate nothing at all, we just wish peace upon you. Thanks for being here with us at the most amazing homesteading channel on the planet that typically doesn't have a thing to do with homesteading off the grid. I'm going to get in the house and make sure my fire doesn't go out. See you for more next time.